I hated him. I still hate him. And yes, I love revenge.
The words came cold, devoid of emotion. Kelly Marie Cochran sat across from Detective Jeremy Ogden in that interrogation room, confessing to murdering her husband, Jason Cochran. But this wasn't a confession born of remorse. It was revenge for a killing that happened nearly 2 years earlier. The brutal murder of her lover, Christopher Regan, a 53-year-old Air Force veteran whose dismembered remains lay scattered in the remote woods of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. What investigators would uncover was far more twisted than a simple crime of passion. It was a story rooted in a dark pact made on a wedding night in 2002, a marriage that would bind 2 people in blood. Kelly Cochran would later boast of killing up to 21 people, though only 2 murders would ever be proven. The investigation would span 2 states, involve over 100 hours of interrogations, and expose one of the most manipulative killers in recent memory. This is the story of the Devil Woman of Michigan. On October 14, 2014, Christopher Regan vanished without a trace. The 53-year-old divorced father of 2 had been working at Lakeshore Systems, a factory in Iron River, Michigan, producing parts for naval ships. He was excited about a new job opportunity in North Carolina and had been making plans to relocate. That morning, he texted his ex-girlfriend and close friend, Terry O'Donnell, mentioning he was tying up loose ends. It was the last anyone would hear from him. When Regan failed to show up for work and missed his flight to North Carolina, alarms were raised. O'Donnell reported him missing on October 24, 2014, after finding his apartment in disarray with his phone gone. Police discovered Regan's car abandoned at a park-and-ride lot about 6 miles from his last known location. Inside the vehicle, investigators found a critical clue, a small post-it note with handwritten directions leading directly to the home of Kelly and Jason Cochran. Kelly Cochran, then 31 or 32 years old, worked alongside Regan at the factory. What coworkers didn't fully realize was that the 2 had been having an affair, meeting 4 to 5 times weekly. Kelly and her husband Jason had moved to Iron River from their hometown of Hobart, Indiana in 2013 so Jason could access legal medical marijuana for chronic back pain following an injury. The couple had grown up as neighbors in Merrillville, Indiana, and married shortly after high school in 2002. They ran a swimming pool servicing business together, with Kelly described as outgoing and Jason as quiet and reserved. Iron River police brought Kelly in for questioning. Laura Frizzo, then the chief of police for Iron River, led the investigation. During the initial interview, Kelly appeared cooperative.
Okay, we're not.
I came down here willingly.
Yep, willingly, voluntarily, we're not holding anything, okay?
Thank you.
Did you have an intimate relationship?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And obviously your husband knows or doesn't know about that?
He knows.
He knows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your husband didn't mind that this was going on, or what?
I was open with him. Chris wasn't the only one I was seeing. He had suffered with depression for a long time. He had cancer a while back. He can't do anything physical without being in a lot of pain, so it's been kind of hard.
When questioned, Kelly's husband Jason provided a different account, revealing a new layer of the case.
You were very much aware of what Kelly was doing.
It wasn't really Abby, but I know my wife's kind of been seeing people the last couple of months. It was my choice on whether to divorce or try to stick it out for a little while. I either had to accept it or to let her go.
But investigators noticed something unsettling about Jason during questioning. He appeared emotionless, providing vague answers. The jealous husband. Angles seemed plausible, and detectives began to focus their attention on him. In March 2015, police executed a search warrant on the Cochran home. What they found chilled them to the bone.
Hi, Kelly.
Hey.
Hi. I'm Chief Laura Frizzo with the Iron River Police.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is it possible to put the dog away so I could come in and talk with you for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can step in here.
Blood splatter covered the ceiling of the home. Jason's journal contained cryptic entries with references to revenge killings and violent sprees. The evidence pointed toward violence, but there was one critical problem: no body. Without Christopher Regan's remains, the case had no victim. The investigation stalled, and the Cochrans fled to Hobart, Indiana, evading further immediate scrutiny. For nearly a year, the case went cold. Then, on February 20th, 2016, everything changed. Kelly Cochran called 911 from her Hobart home on Mississippi Street, claiming her husband Jason wasn't breathing.
Wake County 911. His face is like blue. He's breathing barely. I don't know what's wrong. He's throwing up. He's sweating. I need an ambulance right away.
And how old is the person?
37, just get an ambulance here, right now.
When paramedics arrived, they found Jason Cochran, 37 years old, unresponsive. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Kelly told first responders that Jason had overdosed on heroin, which he used to manage his chronic back pain. The initial assumption was accidental overdose, but when the autopsy results came back, they revealed something far more sinister. Jason Cochran had died from asphyxiation, not a drug overdose. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide. Shortly after Jason's death, an anonymous tip, reportedly from the FBI, linked the Cochrans to the unsolved Christopher Regan case in Michigan. Detective Jeremy Ogden of the Hobart Police Department took over Jason's case and immediately contacted Laura Frizzo in Iron River. The two detectives realized they were dealing with the same woman, Kelly Cochran. Ogden began a series of voluntary interviews with Kelly that would eventually total over 100 hours. He would later describe Kelly as one of the most manipulative people that you'll ever meet in your entire life.
When you look into the eyes of the so-called devil woman of Michigan, what do you see?
I see exactly what I saw from the very beginning. She's one of the most manipulative people that you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Laura Frizzo noted, with Kelly it was like lie, 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 truth. Lie, truth, lie, 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 truth. You gotta figure it out. Ogden employed psychological tactics to unsettle Kelly. In one calculated move, he carved Chris's ear into a tree in a Hobart park Kelly frequented at 5 a.m., creating paranoia without direct confrontation.
Can this not be a game? And I don't mean that to start this off with you being unhappy with me because I use the word game because you hate it when I say that.
Don't rush me.
What is it with me? The truth.
What do you mean?
What is it with me? Why did you choose to continue to talk to me? Did you think I was weak?
No.
Did you think I was vulnerable?
The vulnerability you can see in your eyes, but that's not why.
So then why?
Some people fascinate me.
Why do I fascinate you?
Because I think I know you a little bit.
How?
I don't put myself with anybody that I haven't looked into or that I don't know at least a little bit about.
Okay, so can you explain to me then?
You fascinate me.
No, not a good answer.
But you do.
You think that you can make people believe? That's what this is? You think you can make people believe, sell yourself to them because you have a way to do it?
Yes.
How? How on earth could you? I have 50 shades of Kelly.
Yes, you do.
Ogden described his strategy. I always felt, leave something left to be said. And that's exactly what I did in the first interview. By ending sessions early, he kept Kelly wanting more contact, building a rapport that would eventually lead to confessions.
How do you do that?
I left something to be said. She needs to go away, and we'll see if she comes back on her own.
In many ways, that was your first chess move.
The psychological battle between them was evident in every exchange. Kelly believed she could read Ogden, that she understood what drove him.
You can see it in your eyes.
What about it?
You have the same look in your eyes that I feel like I've seen in my eyes, but I don't feel it. You feel.
And what's that?
Sadness.
4. And you know you got me because I just choked myself almost.
But Kelly wasn't making it easy. She oscillated between cooperation and resistance, often bargaining for information in exchange for details. As pressure mounted and a Michigan arrest warrant was issued for Reagan's murder in mid-April 2016, Kelly grew increasingly paranoid. On April 27, 2016, she postponed a scheduled interview with Ogden and sent him a taunting text message. "The West Coast looks good in the morning." She was fleeing, but not to the West Coast. That was a deliberate misdirection. Kelly drove to Wingo, Kentucky to stay with a cousin. Ogden coordinated with the U.S. Marshals Service to locate her. On April 28, 2016, Marshals and Kentucky State Police arrested her without incident. Kelly exhibited volatile behavior after arrest, fashioning shanks from her eyeglasses and threatening violence. When Ogden arrived on April 29th, she claimed medication impairment, another manipulation to buy time. The next day, April 30th, Kelly resumed talking, and she confessed to suffocating Jason as revenge.
I hated him. I still hate him. And yes, it was revenge.
Kelly explained that she injected Jason with a lethal dose of heroin, which he regularly used for pain management, and then smothered him by covering his nose and mouth for less than a minute while straddling him on their bed. The details she provided were chilling in their clinical precision.
At that point, I didn't have that same chance as I did in February. The heroin was... He did say he wanted to live more. Live a little bit, because I always got to go out and party and have fun. So I made sure he got to live a little bit before he died.
So what'd you do?
I didn't force him to sniff it. He sniffed it on his own. I shot mine. I sniffed a line too, I think. I did take quite a few pills too, but that's just another day, right? For the most part. After we'd run a couple errands and come back, we were both pretty up. But he was beyond up. I think you can imagine, especially somebody who doesn't do that stuff. He was having a hard time breathing. I think it was getting to him. Now you had thought that I had given him more heroin. I didn't need to. That stuff was so raw. It was. I hadn't had heroin that strong in a long time, so I didn't need to give him any more. He was up enough. He started getting sick. I did hold his nose. I didn't hold his neck. I held his mouth though. The look on his face was confusion, fear, more confusion than anything.
Did he do anything?
He didn't move much. He chokes. He was vomiting at that point.
Kelly explained that she injected Jason with a lethal dose of heroin, which he regularly used for pain management, and then smothered him by covering his nose and mouth for less than a minute while straddling him on their bed.
So what happened to him? He's looking at you during this, right?
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he grab you?
No.
Could he not?
I don't think he could. His hands weren't held down, but I don't think he could. Or maybe he just...
So where were you sitting on his chest?
I was sitting... He was... Do you remember I told you he was on the bed?
Yes.
He was on the bed like that.
Yes.
I was kind of like on his lap.
Jason had 3 times the lethal dose of heroin in his body, yet he was still alive, incapacitated but conscious enough to experience what was happening to him. Her motive was simple. It was revenge. She evened the score.
From the time he shot Chris, I wanted him dead. He took the only good thing I had in my life. I don't know why I waited so long.
When Ogden pressed her on whether she had planned Jason's murder, Kelly's response revealed the depth of her resentment.
I thought about it every day since October 14th.
I know, but I mean to sit down and...
It was that day. That morning.
Kelly admitted she had considered every way to kill Jason, contemplating what would be the most painful method. Kelly blamed Jason for killing Christopher Regan, whom she called the only good thing in her life. But her confession about Jason's death was only the beginning. Extradited to Michigan in early May 2016, Kelly agreed to lead investigators to Christopher Regan's remains. What happened next in those remote Michigan woods would become some of the most chilling moments in the entire investigation.
So how much further could you walk out?
Well, you could actually walk out to where the grass is, but it's
So
high here.
Were you able to walk out to where the grass is when you threw it?
Jason threw it.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, all this is all high.
Took a long
Ain't it?
run, and you could just jump right onto that little.
Yeah.
You'd sink right up to your knees.
So how far out did he throw it?
Okay.
No.
But that's a lot of water.
So he just tossed it like that.
Yeah. Is this rock bottom too?
I don't think so.
Dirt.
Maybe.
There's no telling. It could
But I
roll.
can have the
It could roll, be pushed. All right. All right.
Yep. Had you come here before? Yeah.
Kelly initially misled detectives, pointing them to wrong locations while requesting immunity. But once she decided to cooperate, she led police to Pentoga Trail, a remote area near the Caspian Pit fishing spot in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The field recovery was captured on body cameras, and what detectives witnessed left them disturbed.
Saying everything was here. The skulls, the torso.
She's saying she dumped the whole body here in different bags?
Yep, the whole bag, all the bags were dumped here. What would the biggest piece of bone be that you, torso, and that was here? So then we should find ribs, and I think that generally
The skull should be the biggest, though.
Kelly was eerily casual, almost carefree, as she pointed out where Christopher Regan's remains had been dumped in garbage bags. At one point during the recovery, she requested pizza. While eating, she calmly described how she had used forceps to extract a bullet from Regan's skull, an act meant to hinder ballistics matching. Laura Frizzo later confirmed, everything Kelly Cochran told us that day was accurate. Investigators recovered Regan's skull, which had a bullet hole in it, along with his eyeglasses, a .22 caliber bullet, and the forceps Kelly had used.
Dr. Filippi testified about the process he went through to match Chris Regan's dental records to the skull, and that he found the skull matched the dental records and identified it as Christopher Carl Regan.
The skull was matched to Regan through dental records. Kelly also led them to locations where Jason had disposed of Regan's phone, camera, and gun parts. Now, with physical evidence in hand, Kelly began confessing the full horrifying details of what happened on October 14th, 2014. And it was here that the darkest secret of the Cochran marriage came to light, the murder pact. Kelly revealed that on their wedding night in 2002, she and Jason made a bizarre agreement. If either of them cheated, the cheater would kill their lover, or the betrayed spouse would kill the cheater, or both would die trying to enforce it. During her trial testimony, prosecutors confronted her about this twisted agreement.
So you told the detective also that you had a pact made when married to kill lovers, right?
I told him that, yes.
And I think that you testified that that actually was an agreement, but you were joking around at the time. Is that accurate?
No, not actually. I said a pact is an agreement. There was never any agreement, but this was said on our wedding night by him.
Well, why don't you tell us exactly what was said on your wedding night?
He said that if I had ever cheated on him, or if vice versa, that the other one, that you would have to kill your significant other, and if you didn't, then the other would have to do it.
So that actually was discussed?
He had said it.
And what did you say?
I blew it off. I didn't think it was anything to take seriously.
Okay, so you didn't take that seriously, but yet you told the detective that when you're under investigation for a murder?
Yes.
That was a big joke to you?
None of this is a joke.
So you lied to the detective. Was it a big joke when you lied to the detective about this?
No.
It was a pact forged in blood, binding them for over a decade. When Jason discovered Kelly's affair with Christopher Regan, he insisted on enforcing that pact.
Start from the beginning. He comes in the house. What happens? What happens? Where's Jason go? Jason doesn't there. He's not there at all, as far as you know.
Well, as far as I know at that time, no.
Okay? What happens then? Okay. Then what? Okay. Then what? Jason shot Chris. Okay. Then what happens? Tumbled down the stairs. Okay.
On October 14th, 2014, Kelly lured Christopher Regan to their home under the pretense of a sexual encounter. While Kelly and Regan were intimate upstairs, Jason, hidden, likely in the basement, emerged and shot Regan once in the back of the head at point-blank range with a .22 caliber Marlin Model 60 rifle. Regan's body tumbled down the basement stairs, blood everywhere. What followed was a scene of grotesque horror. During interrogation, Detective Ogden pressed Kelly for every detail of what happened in that basement.
Then what?
He dragged him to the basement.
And what did you do?
Went to cook dinner.
What happened next?
So he cut him up. I started hearing the saw.
Well, something happens before you start hearing the saw. Did you have to get him anything? Did he ask you to bring him anything?
The extension cord.
So you were down in the basement with him, and he told you to get the extension cord.
Yeah.
And Chris is laying there dead. Did he start cutting him up before you went back upstairs? At what point do you come back down?
Maybe 23 minutes.
And when you come back downstairs, what do you see?
I know it's stupid, but I can't get that out of my head.
The couple dismembered Christopher Regan's body using an electric saw. Kelly admitted retrieving the power cord from the garage for Jason to use.
Taunting me with that.
What do you mean by that? He was taunting you with it.
He like waving his hand.
He waved at you with Chris's hand. Did he say anything? What did he say?
Kelly claimed that Jason taunted her during the dismemberment, waving Christopher Regan's severed hand at her and saying bye-bye. She described helping Jason bag the remains, double bagging the body parts in garbage bags.
So describe it. What do you see?
Every joint he cut.
Okay.
So he put them in bags. Oh.
Okay. And what?
Double bag.
Kelly admitted that Jason had cut Regan's body at every joint. Later in interrogations, she would paint an even darker picture of Jason's psychology.
What did he do?
He enjoyed cutting people up. He enjoyed that. I really thought he was gonna do the same thing to Chris. That scared me.
What do you mean? Do the same thing?
I know that Jason killed Chris to hurt me. If he had killed Chris to hurt Chris, he would have tortured him. He would have. I know. Because that's what he enjoyed. That's what he smiled at. That might have been his happiness.
She helped carry the bags to their vehicle and accompanied Jason as they drove to the remote woods near Caspian Pit to dump the remains. Throughout her confessions, Kelly alternated between claiming she was forced to help out of fear and admitting she knew about the plan in advance due to the pact. Prosecutors would later argue that Kelly was a willing participant from the beginning. But there was one detail that would haunt the community and fuel dark rumors about the Cochrans. Shortly after Regan's murder, Kelly and Jason hosted a neighborhood barbecue. Years later, neighbors would come forward with a chilling suspicion.
When we found out the guy was gone, we were always wondering about that. What if they were that kind of people and actually did kill a guy and then butchered him up and had us over for dinner? I believe we ate him.
It was like a transparent kind of like meat, like a lobster or shrimp, and it had the texture of it, like the soft firmness of it. It was like something I never had.
Kelly denied serving Regan's remains at the barbecue, and no cannibalism charges were ever filed. But the allegation, unsubstantiated as it was, added to the horrifying mystique surrounding the case and earned Kelly the moniker Devil Woman of Michigan in media coverage. After recovering Regan's remains and extracting confessions about both murders, investigators still had one burning question: were there more victims? During interviews, Kelly made shocking claims. She told investigators that Jason had murdered 11 people, and she hinted at her own involvement in additional killings.
So what is it? What is the book?
Composition book. His book.
What's in it? Okay. Like?
Every fine detail.
Talk to me.
As far as how many?
Yeah.
The same amount that I put on that sheet of paper the first time I gave you.
How many was that?
Total, for sure? For sure?
Yeah.
That I know of 11.
But as the interrogations continued, the numbers grew even more disturbing.
What number?
The number I gave you.
What number?
21. That's Jason's right there.
So Jason has 21 on his own. Or Jason has 11 on his own. And you're telling me you've killed 21 people. How many women did Jason kill?
4.
And in what capacity?
Usually some form of torture.
Okay, but how would he hook up with them?
Not by me hooking him up. Not by.
I didn't say that.
No, I know, but
how?
He ran into people, but he was the shy, bashful Jason with some people. Some people might know him like that.
How many people have you killed? Well, I mean, it's written right there, you know.
Okay. It's on your notebook.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. What was the age you killed your first person?
The one I told you to look into from New Beginnings. And you had questioned, and I'm not recording or anything like that, but you had asked about the year. I know how old I was, but there was follow-up therapy.
Kelly claimed bodies were buried across multiple states: Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, and Minnesota. She told family members she had friends buried in these locations. Her brother, Colton Kaboyan, feared she was a serial killer. In some confessions, Kelly claimed responsibility for up to 21 total deaths.
I used love and manipulation for the first one.
And who is it?
I gave you his name. Gary. Cochran. The psychiatrist I was seeing, I had
Hang on. Gary. How old was Gary?
at that time,
Yeah.
24.
Where did you kill Gary?
It wasn't in my house.
What'd you do to him?
Same as what I did to most of them.
Yeah.
I enjoy using a knife. No poison.
Okay.
She referenced a composition book she kept that allegedly detailed every fine detail of these additional murders. But when detectives searched for it, the book was never conclusively found or verified. Despite extensive searches in the locations Kelly indicated, no additional bodies were ever recovered. Police came to view her serial killer claims as manipulative lies meant to enhance her notoriety or leverage in negotiations. Yet questions lingered. Christopher Regan's ex-girlfriend, Terry O'Donnell, testified during Kelly's trial that the sophistication of Regan's murder, the cleanup, the dismemberment, the disposal, suggested prior experience. O'Donnell stated, "There's just no way that the first person you choose to kill, you're going to be able to clean up the blood. I truly believe there are other people out there." Whether Kelly Cochran was responsible for additional murders remains one of the case's greatest mysteries. Kelly Cochran faced 2 separate legal proceedings. The first was a full jury trial in Michigan for Christopher Regan's murder. The second was a guilty plea proceeding in Indiana for Jason Cochran's murder. The Michigan trial began in mid-February 2017 in Iron County Circuit Court in Crystal Falls. Kelly faced 5 felony counts: first-degree premeditated murder, conspiracy to mutilate a dead body, concealing the death of a person, larceny in a building, and lying to a peace officer. She pleaded not guilty, with her defense team positioning her as a victim of Jason's abuse and coercion. The prosecution, led by Iron County prosecutor Melissa Powell, argued that Kelly committed the crimes of her own free will. Powell described the murder as a premeditated thrill kill that bonded the couple in blood under their wedding night murder pact. She told the jury that after the killing, the Cochrans' failing marriage transformed into a love fest, citing text messages showing renewed affection between them. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence. They showed the jury Regan's recovered skull with the bullet hole, his eyeglasses, the .22 caliber bullet, and the forceps with DNA linking to Regan. They played audio and video recordings from the over 100 hours of interviews with Kelly. They presented photographs of blood splatter on the ceiling of the Cochran home. They introduced Jason's journal entries hinting at revenge killings. Laura Frizzo testified extensively, laying out the investigative timeline and Kelly's shifting confessions. She described Kelly's casual demeanor during the field, recovery of Regan's remains, noting how Kelly ate pizza while explaining how she extracted the bullet from Regan's skull with forceps. Despite defense objections that showing the skull to the jury was prejudicial, the judge allowed Frizzo to present it as evidence. The defense argued that Jason had acted alone out of jealous rage and that Kelly had no prior knowledge of the shooting. They claimed Kelly only helped with cleanup and disposal under duress. Fearing Jason's abuse and threats, Kelly testified in her own defense, describing alleged abuse by Jason and insisting he forced her to participate. But the prosecution's cross-examination was devastating. They confronted Kelly with contradictions in her stories, her boasts about being a serial killer, and her failure to report the crime immediately. On February 28, 2017, after roughly 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found Kelly Cochran guilty on all 5 counts, including first-degree premeditated murder. The quick deliberation highlighted the strength of the physical evidence and Kelly's own confessions.
Count number 1, open murder, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, aiding and abetting. Count number 2, larceny in a building, guilty of larceny in a building. Count number 3, conspiracy to commit dead bodies, disinterment, and mutilation, guilty. Count number 4, concealing the death of an individual, guilty. Count number 5, lying to a peace officer, violent crime investigation, guilty.
Thank you, Madam Foreman. On May 10, 2017, Kelly was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder. She also received concurrent and additional terms, 2.5 to 4 years for larceny, 6 to 10 years for conspiracy to mutilate, 3 to 5 years for concealing death, and 2.5 to 4 years for lying to an officer. Kelly appealed her conviction, but in 2019, the Michigan Court of Appeals denied her appeal. In 2020, the Michigan Supreme Court denied further review with a 2-line statement, upholding her conviction and life sentence. For Jason Cochran's murder, Kelly avoided a second jury trial by entering a guilty plea in April 2018 in Lake County Superior Court in Indiana. The plea deal offered significant terms. Indiana would not seek the death penalty or an additional life sentence, and they agreed not to prosecute her for any additional murders if she provided locations of other potential victims. Kelly did not fully disclose viable locations, so no further Indiana charges emerged. During her sentencing hearing on May 16, 2018, Judge Salvador Vasquez harshly rebuked Kelly. He sentenced her to 65 years in prison to be served consecutively to her Michigan life sentence. Kelly showed little emotion during the proceedings. Kelly Marie Cochran is currently incarcerated in Michigan under MDOC number 356714, serving life without parole plus 65 years. She will never be released. Yet questions remain. Were there truly 9, 11, or even 21 additional victims as Kelly claimed? Did she and Jason Cochran operate as a serial killing team for years before Regan's murder? Were the neighbors' suspicions about the barbecue grounded in horrifying truth or merely dark speculation? In her own words during interrogation, Kelly revealed a chilling self-awareness.
You said you researched me. So what made you... Why me?
I knew you were smart.
How?
I know your work.
She studied Detective Ogden just as he studied her. She told him she saw sadness in his eyes that matched her own. She claimed to have 50 shades of Kelly, different personas she could present to manipulate those around her. She admitted she had a way of making people believe whatever she wanted them to believe, selling different versions of herself depending on what served her purposes. Perhaps most disturbing was her statement during interrogation when Ogden pressed her on why she continued talking to him.
I don't trust you. I don't trust anybody else, and that's up that I trust a cop. You know that, right? You know how twisted that is for somebody like me? The only person in the world I trust is a cop. Detective, not a cop.
Even in confession, Kelly maintained an air of superiority and control. She corrected Ogden's terminology, not cop, but detective, as if to emphasize that she saw him as an intellectual equal, not simply law enforcement. This was a woman who, despite facing life in prison, still believed she could manipulate the narrative, control the outcome, and maintain psychological dominance.
So how is that?
I will not spend my life in prison.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that.
Okay.
At one point, Kelly told Ogden with absolute certainty, "I will not spend my life in prison." She declared that whatever she had to do to avoid that fate, she would do it. But ultimately, the physical evidence, the confessions she provided, and the testimony of those who saw through her manipulations sealed her fate. The case serves as a stark reminder that true evil can hide behind a familiar face. Kelly Cochran worked a regular factory job and attended neighborhood gatherings, presenting herself as ordinary. Behind that facade lay someone capable of cold-blooded murder, dismemberment without remorse, and potentially claiming additional lives that may never be accounted for. The wedding night murder pact between Kelly and Jason Cochran stands as one of the most bizarre and chilling aspects of the case. Whatever its origins, the pact would claim at least 2 lives and destroy countless others. As Kelly Cochran sits in her prison cell serving life without parole plus 65 years, the questions about additional victims continue to haunt investigators and the public. Are there families out there still wondering what happened to their missing loved ones? Are their bodies still buried in the woods, waiting to be discovered? We may never know the full extent of Kelly Cochran's crimes. Her plea deal protected her from additional Indiana prosecutions in exchange for information about other victims, information she ultimately did not provide. With Jason dead and Kelly's credibility destroyed by constant lies, the truth about potential additional murders may have died with them.